use a lot of crushed glass in my art projects, and I crush it myself using this little jig that I made myself. There's a link in the description on how I made it. Crushing it this way does result in a lot of uneven pieces, but it also results in a lot of dust. And then once I'm done crushing the glass, I sift out all the dust and I save it. And you probably by now are wondering, well, what the heck does she do with all the dust? Well, you're about to find out. Okay, my board is prepped. I already have it sealed. It's nice and clean. This is just a fence picket that, I've recycled, basically rescued from the trash bin. And trying something again. No, actually, what I want to show you is the reason why it's important to, at least with clear glass, but probably with all glass. And this is why I sift it to get the dust out. So when I sift my glass, I get out that, the glass dust. And I reuse it. I'm going to show you why. But when I do my glass trees, especially with the clear glass, and I don't want to use these great big pieces like this, I like to use, medium pieces. So not great big pieces, but also not dust, and also not this really tiny, tiny size, the diamond size, little diamond chips. So more of the medium to small pieces. I don't know what that is right there. Oh, get out of there. What is that? A piece of label or something? And then I just want to make sure I don't have any trash or any great big pieces. All right, and then I take my popsicle stick. Oh, I need a trunk. Really pretty oyster shell. This one is probably as hard as stone because it's been tumbled for a while, but look how pretty that is. I probably could make a Christmas ornament out of it, but I want to use it as a trunk right there. So I lay my trunk down so that I can kind of see the shape, not really the shape, but how tall the tree is going to be. So my popsicle stick is going to be my guide for my tree. And then I want to have a broad base and then kind of come up at the top. Now this is probably a little smaller than I would normally like to use. It's got trash in it. Now some of this, like this big, is going to have to go back in the crusher for sure. It's just a little bit too big. A lot of trash in this one. That actually may be good right there. It's a good shape. That's a really good shape. Nice and tall. It's very even. Might need a little bit more right there. All right. Maybe a little bit more at the top. Looking a little bit bare. Right there. Okay. do you think? It's a good shape. Okay. I'm going to take my. All right. So now mix up 40 milliliters of Let's Resin. This is their casting resin. I'll have a link to it in the description. And this is a perfect amount for this size of a tree. Obviously, if you have more or less glass on your board or your canvas, whatever you're using, you're going to want to adjust for that. 40 milliliters is the perfect size for this board. This board is about 16 inches tall and it's 6 inches wide. So standard fence picket. And I do my edges first, and I kind of get into a pattern of always starting at the same spot. So that way I know that my whole board is covered. Okay. But the reason I sift through all of that dust is because the clear glass just tends to get overwhelmed and lost with the resin. When the resin hits it, it just almost like it's drowning. And it's because the clear glass, well, I mean, it's clear. And then if you tumble it, you kind of get that little frost on it. Now, I don't tumble my glass. This is just pure crushed glass. But if you tumble it and you get that little frost on it, the resin is going to eliminate that frost. But this is really pretty. It looks very, very diamondy. Okay, so I've got the majority of the resin on here. I have a little bit left over in my cup that I'm going to use for the trunk, which is the oyster shell, and then my star topper. But what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put my oyster shell on, and I'm going to see where I'm going to need my resin. So see how it's not quite flat at the bottom, if you can see that. So my resin just needs to go right here. Let me raise this up. Don't really need a whole lot, but I'm going to go ahead and secure this down. And if I need more, I can always add more. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put some in the base here. I'm just going to rub it and kind of bring the shine back on this shell. It's just too pretty. That's kind of polishing the shell. And then a tree topper, I'll add that in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and take off my gloves because I want to show you how cool this is. So I'm going to use this glass dust kind of like glitter. Now, if you want to use a little spoon, let's go ahead and do that. So you don't want to breathe this in, okay? But I'm just going to put some in a little silicone spoon. There's a big chunk. Don't want that. And I'm going to sprinkle it on my tree and look at how cool that is. Now you can use as little or as much as you want, but it's going to stick to the resin because the resin's quite wet. Look at how cool that is. It kind of brings the frost back. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use my hands. It's perfectly safe. I feel like I have more control when I'm using my hands. But look at that. It brings that frostiness back. And that is just really, really cool. And it gives a little bit of color. So this is going to be this is what I'm going to use as my ornament. I'm not going to use beads or anything else. This is it. This is the embellishment. And so that's why I save all that dust. I am really, really in love with this green dust because it's so variegated. The variation in the green glass is a lot more pronounced than the clear or the blue. You get olive, you get the bright green, you get light green, but that is going to be it. And I need a star. I think I'm going to go simple. I think I'm just going to go really, really simple and use one of these little tiny starfish, just like that. I don't know about that. That looks kind of weird. I think I'm gonna just do this. Yeah, that'll work. And then for the trunk, I thought about just putting Mr. Turtle in there. That'll be cute. I like that. And that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it.
The glass dust really does shimmer like little tiny crystals, little tiny diamonds, and it brings just enough color to keep it very simple and very classic. I really, really love it. And Mr. Turtle is making himself right at home in this oyster shell. So give it a try. Bye, friends.